because obviously the affair itself, but because of the significance of what it meant because of his childhood. And then learning about just a lot of turning towards, they sit very near each other, they have a lot of they have a very strong marriage, fundamentally. And so his ability to lean into her and because the therapy has gone so well, he's learning to not turn away, or at least not withdraw himself as much. And so although hasn't gone away completely, I was super happy to hear that it's happening less often, and when it happens, he's able to re-engage quicker.
So what happens with that? What happens now?
When we get home, we hit the ground running with Kendall.
You what?
We hit the ground running with Kendall.
Okay. So Kendall keeps you really busy.
And
by the time
everything with us is like on the back burner.
By the time she's home, it's, past dinner time, should be out of the bathtub, start to ready to go to bed.
So you're able to sort of disengage. You're not engaged one with another as far as the marriage goes. Am I hearing that correctly?
When she gets home.
Right. So you're able to sort of immerse yourself in parenting things. Is that kind of what I'm hearing?
Still give each other a kiss when we get home.
And then whenever you're
I
able
just wait and feel it out.
Okay. And what is that? So as far as like the typical pattern goes, when you sort of wait and fill him out, what?
I wait to see if he's gonna talk to me or want to be around me, or if he's gonna be distant and cold.
Okay. So you said it's been a little different than it was before. Maybe you could track with me what it used to be like and what it is. And either of you could jump in what it's been more like lately.
It's been less cold.
So say
we've been saying our prayers every day.
Yeah. Okay, so that's huge. And we started talking about that maybe 2 sessions ago. That we've been really, really working hard on making God a part of your healing process.
We don't do it every day, and we didn't do it this morning, but we usually say a prayer every morning before we get to bed, or before I go to work.
And so, say just maybe a little bit more about how that has shifted things. It sounds significant.
I've just been praying for forgiveness and hope, and you've been praying for strength and guidance for Kendall. I don't know if that's the difference, but you told me.
I don't know, I think it's helping us kind of reassuring us that we want the same things.
Yeah.
The same things are important to us.
Yeah.
We don't fight. We were talking about this on the way here. We fight about nothing except this situation in Kendall.
Well, I have to say that's a really, really big change.
We fight about nothing.
Well, you guys have been through a
There's
lot.
nothing to fight about.
Well, I mean, considering that you're building a house right now, your work schedules are crazy, and
Can you pause it for 1
parents has been
second?
really hard.
Where do you think God fits in the cycle? God, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where does he fit in the cycle? Based upon what they're describing.
2, 1, action.
It's hard, right? I think God is fitting in the cycle right before the behavior. Right? So it's like I pray, and when I pray, then I do something different.
And then I what?
I do something different.
Oh.
Or it could be that it's fitting down somewhere down here. So when I pray, I perceive it differently, and then I do something differently. So you probably fit it anywhere up here.
It's dramatically shifted his ability to forgive and to see her differently. I mean, it always does, right? I think he's always in the healing, but when they allow God in, like explicitly, it changes everything.
I think it, like if you talk for the spiritual integration piece, it probably actually goes like this. Okay, so this is the dance, right? And then this goes like this. And then I bring God into it, which influences the dance. And this goes back out here, and I bring God into it. It goes like that. So each person has this personal relationship with God that they're bringing into the dance. And so it flows back outside, so I have this experience of God, and I bring it back in, and then it goes around and around like that. I don't know if I'm actually drawing that correctly, but you get the idea, right? Yeah. So it's kind of like God, us, and it's just like this flow. And so they're inserting the relationship with God to disrupt the pattern.
Well, at one point in time, she even said, you know, we have acknowledged that this is bigger than we are, and now that we have let God into our healing, we know we can do this. You know, I mean, that's pretty remarkable.
There's a lot going on, for sure. And I have to say, too, that something else that I noticed as far as like a big shift in the pattern that you're talking about is, it sounds like what I'm noticing is that you used to really come home and be almost like you would shut down so much so that you couldn't engage with Sarah at all. So maybe, why don't you share a little bit about how that has shifted in the last little while? Because that to me feels like a really, really big change lately.
Yes, tell me about it. What happened yesterday? You didn't talk to me about it a whole lot. You didn't want to talk about it.
Hello?
I don't know, maybe it's just time.
Yeah.
What were you upset about?
Just, not in one particular thing,
Yeah.
just what happened.
Yeah.
And I was,
You didn't want to talk to me.
and I was down, but Sarah wanted to talk about it, and Liz part on, but I said, you know, there's nothing to talk about. It's nothing new.
Yeah,
It's the same, it's just the incident.
Sort of more of the same
So,
feelings.
yeah. So I didn't really feel like we needed to go back over anything.
Sure. Sure. So let me see if I'm following you, Brian. So you came. So it feels like you had the same sort of initial reaction, which was Sarah had been gone for a couple of days working, and for whatever reason, well, not for whatever reason, but actually she wasn't near you, right? I think you guys have both really articulated that when you get to be near each other, you reassure each other, of course. You love each other, you care deeply one for another, and so when you get to be near one another, your very presence with one another is reassuring. And that's how God made you to be. That's what's making this marriage become healed. That's the beautiful part of what's going on here in this room together, right? So when you have these long shifts as a nurse, the fear slowly sort of creeps in, Brian, right? And so after a couple of days of that, something enters into you and you get scared, right? And so, and then you start thinking of the incident, and something more like fear, loneliness is probably what triggers the fear. You know, lots of those really sort of soft emotions, those very vulnerable feelings enter in, and you're by yourself, sort of working through those things. And that's really scary, especially if you think about your childhood experiences, where that's kind of what was normal for you, right? You didn't really have, you don't have a real big skill set for working through those things, you know, in the presence of safe and loving others, right? You did that by yourself as a child. And so, consequently, what you reflexively do is you sort of retreat into yourself. And so by the time Sarah shows up, you have kind of retreated into yourself, and then what emerges instead of like, hey, I'm feeling really scared, and is what?
He said he's mad.
Is he gets angry, right? Because, well, you know, so why do you say, why would you go to anger rather than go into the softer emotions? Talk a little bit about that. What's going on there?
I mean,
I didn't teach them well there.
I don't know why I get angry.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? So we move towards anger sometimes, because for whatever reason, anger feels a little safer, especially, you know, when we're feeling a lot of threat, when we're not feeling safe. And although Sarah, you know, you adore Sarah and Sarah adores you, Sarah hurts you. And so it feels a little safer to say, I'm mad and I'm angry. That's not vulnerable. That's more, it feels more powerful. It feels, when we're in threat, we get mad. Whereas when we feel a little safer, we can say, I'm so scared. I'm terrified. I'm hurting. I'm lonely. And so that's why after time goes by, and you're able to re-engage with Sarah, that's what you can do. And that's why here in the room together, that's what we're able to do together. We're able to talk more about those kind of softer emotions. So maybe, why don't we do this? Because so it sounds like what you're saying is, as we have worked together and as time has passed by, at first there was a lot of just anger, right? And like retreating and shutting the door and I can't be near her. With good, you were scared and you were angry because there was a lot of betrayal, right? But as the weeks and months have passed by, you have definitely both started to feel a lot safer, right? Yeah, sure, right. I mean, relatively speaking, we've been doing this for a while, but we've also, there's more to do, like we said, right? So maybe why don't you guys just spend a few minutes talking to one another about like the progress you've made as far as feeling safe in talking to one another about what's really going on, as far as like fear and loneliness and like how you have felt safer in talking about those things with one another. You guys do that? And just turn to one another and do that together.
So this right here is a little bit more stage 2 work. So after cycle de-escalation, then you move to stage 2 work, which is consolidation, which is the enactment of the new secure base cycles in session with each other. So awesome. Let's talk just a little bit more. We have a few more minutes, so let's thank you. Okay, so step 2, let's come back here. We're going to identify the negative interactional cycle, each party's position in the cycle. So that has to do with the secondary cycle. Step 2, okay? Step 3, access unacknowledged emotions and underlying interactional positions. Unacknowledged emotions are the primary emotions, right? And other emotions, but most of them are the primary emotions. So the goal is to help each member of the couple to access and accept their unacknowledged feelings, their own, not their partners, but to accept their own, access their own, and accept their own unacknowledged feelings that are influencing their behavior in the relationship. Both partners are to reprocess and crystallize their own experiences in the relationship so that they can become emotionally open to the other person. So they're accessing their own primary emotions, right? Or other types of underlying emotions. So here may be some to pursue hurt, alone, unwanted, invisible, isolated, not important, abandoned, desperate, disconnected, deprived. And be very common underlying emotions for the pursuer, and then for the withdrawer, might be inadequate. Maybe this one means a lot for the withdrawer. Rejected, afraid of failure, overwhelmed, numb, frozen, afraid, scared, undesired, judged, criticized, shamed, and empty. Okay.
On the circle, the little cycle, and the number section. So when you're saying step 3, does that match up with the number on the
No.
Okay.
Step 3 is just going one level down from secondary emotion to primary emotion.
I just wanted to make sure I was, those weren't.
Okay, so step 1 is assessment. Step 2 is the cycle, the secondary cycle with the secondary emotion.
Okay.
Step 3 is we're moving into the primary emotion.
Okay.
Right?
Thank you.
And or the other underlying emotions, which relate to the primary emotion. Okay? That making sense? So this is a lot of like possible underlying emotional experiences right below the secondary emotion, typically anger or noise or whatever. Okay? So stay with the primary emotions long enough for unmet attachment needs to emerge. The primary emotions will reveal the unmet attachment needs. Okay?